Well, Ron, thank you so much for coming back and giving us an update. I know we don't have a lot of time and there's a lot to cover. So big changes. Tell me about what's new with the government programs that are available.
Okay, well, probably the thing that most people don't realize is there's really several different tax acts that got passed, and they all have their own unique pieces and parts to them. And as we sit here today, the HEALS Act is stuck in Congress and bogged down, and the president just rolled out his old partial four-part presidential order without Congress. So without going down the political route and how that may play out, they're still arguing. So that one didn't pass. But the CARES Act got all kinds of press. And prior to the CARES Act was the HEROES Act. And so all told, like we're in at 2.2 trillion, 2.2 trillion for the HEROES Act.
With a T.
Yeah. 3 trillion on the CARES Act, and then another trillion under this HEALS Act. And no end in sight with COVID. So from a tax perspective, there are some really exciting things go on. It's unfortunate that they're happening because of the reason they're happening. But the big pieces, there's probably four major ones. The big one for the PPP, which was the Payroll Protection Program, that program ended August 8th. And about 5.1 million business owners were able to take advantage of that and get that money in, pay it out proportionally to keep people employed. But it ended with $126 billion still available, which just tells me the process was broken down, or people didn't take advantage of it nearly to the extent that they could have, because that's a lot of money to leave on the table.
Well, and out of curiosity, Ron, I know for myself, I was trying to take advantage of it. And at one point I didn't qualify, and then they revised the qualifications and I still didn't qualify. Then they revised the qualifications again and I still didn't qualify. And then they amended it one more time. And then I did qualify, but I think by the time I realized that I had missed out. So do you think that might have played a factor?
Yeah, because the PPP ran through banks. And so the SBA had their own rules, and then Treasury Department twisted them and changed them after the fact. And then the banks were allowed to put their own wrapper on it. So sometimes you didn't qualify. You could be anybody, might not have qualified because of the bank wrapper or some of the changes. And it's really hard to identify where in the system that the denial actually got triggered.
Okay.
For sure. But you're not alone. Literally millions of people had that same experience. So the separate one was the economic idle disaster loan, EIDL loan. Mm-hmm. Leave it to the government we're going to stimulate the economy and call it an EIDL loan. But that one's still open and running. The big changes to that one since we spoke last was it was up to $2 million per entity. And they reduced that down to $150,000 per. So now it's capped at $150,000. They were doing originally it was going to be $10,000 upon application, a grant that was forgiven. Then they changed it to $1,000 per employee up to 10. And then now that's just gone. That left, I want to say July 13th-ish, somewhere in there. They just stopped doing that grant piece altogether. But the EIDL money is still available and has billions. Still available.
And when you say 2 million down to 150,000, you're talking revenue for a company. Is that correct?
Oh, I'm sorry. No. That's what your loan amount could be approved for.
Oh, and so as low as 150,000, or up to?
So now it's capped at 150. So the most I'll be able to borrow, right, or any business owner, the most I'll be able to borrow is 150 per entity. So just submitted someone this morning and they got 4 different entities. So his max is going to be 150 per entity. So
$600K.
$100,000. Yeah. Exactly. Sorry if I wasn't clear on that one. That's exactly what it is.
No, I don't know if you were, or I'm just, in a different time zone and a little early today. So, yeah. So, and then there's another program. Is that correct?
Yeah, so those are the big changes. The other one that gets a lot of questions repeatedly is that that stimulus check is what they called it, $1,200 per adult, $2,400 per couple, $500 per kid.
Hmm.
Uh, and they're talking about doing that again. If you didn't get your money, you can go to, I forget the exact domain, but you go to irs.gov or you just Google irs.gov and get my payment, and you can double check your address, your banking information, all that kind of stuff. They'll tell you where or how that did or didn't get processed. If you didn't get that check, should have been either a direct deposit or a check in the mail. And in some cases, if you had not filed your 2018 returns, then sometimes they just gave you a debit card with that $1,200 or $2,400 on that. And they're arguing what Congress is trying to do is do that again. So if you didn't get the last one, it's worth going onto the irs.gov site and make sure we get that one, because at least you'll get it for the next one. If you don't get either, we can fix it when we file your taxes and make sure that the $1,200 gets applied appropriately, so it doesn't have to be cash. But it seems like a lot of business owners would rather have the cash than a credit on their tax return next year. So so that'd be a good resource. There's really, I don't know, probably 10 reasons. I should put this in like a PDF or something. 10 reasons maybe you didn't receive your stimulus check.
You know what? I like that. I'm going to challenge you to do that. And if you can put that into the PDF, we'll throw it up. We'll put it up and post it and get it out to the people who need it. So
yeah, okay, I'll do it.
All right.
Yeah.
See, folks, I'm working hard for you. I don't do this for me. I do this for you. And Ron's answering the bell. Yeah. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Yeah, I think that's a great way. I know that there's like so much more. And we could easily be discussing this for 2 or 3 hours. So if somebody does have questions, let's get the plug in for you, Ron. You're going to do us a favor, so let's do you a favor. How can people reach out to you?
Yeah, just taxplanwealth.com is our website. You can certainly call us at 425-381-2253. And then let me throw one other nugget if you've got just 2 more minutes.
It's yours.
This is huge, and we had to go back to the 1980-ish to find this in the tax code. This has gotten zero press, newspaper, print, online, mainline news stations, but it started back as a terrorist act and then kind of evolved over time to where now it includes disaster relief. And so because the president declared disaster relief on March 13th, and then he backdated it to March 1st for the whole nation, when you're under a disaster relief zone, which is the whole nation, all kinds of things are deductible to the business owner that have no business use whatsoever. So some of the things could be some non-covered medical expenses. Some of those non-covered medical expenses could be your kids are under trauma because their friends are getting sick or something like that. So now I have to go to counseling. It could be everyone's working from home now. So now you have increased utilities. Dad's working from home, mom's working from home, kids are homeschooled. So if we can tax any increase in your personal expenses or business expenses back to COVID, it's going to be covered under this old tax law. The entire tax code is literally 2 pages. Like, it's super simple, very, very minimal documentation required. But mental health, trauma, meditation apps, home health, fitness, because you can't go to the gym. So you got to go buy a treadmill. So now your treadmill at home is fully deductible, which is not available anywhere in the code. A lot of over-the-counter stuff. So all of our face masks or our breathing masks or our sanitizer, all the additional cleaning materials, all of that stuff fully deductible. Costs of childcare, child tutoring, non-perishable food. So CDC said everyone should have 30 days of an emergency food supply. So you go buy an extra 30 days of food, fully deductible. So there's a lot of weird stuff. College kids coming home, even though they're adult age, calling home. They had a meal plan at college, but they can't use it. So now they're home eating mom and dad's food, fully deductible. So there's a lot of really cool stuff inside that code. as well. And again, it has nothing to do with the CARES Act or the HEROES Act or the HEALS Act.
That's an existing bit of tax code from the 80s that has morphed into a thing that you can take advantage of now because the entire country is under a disaster.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you. That's an amazing gem. And I guess if their accountant, whoever is out there, if your accountant doesn't know that, say, well, Ron said, go look it up. And if they still can't figure it out, then go talk to Ron.
It's a big one. I ran this for probably a dozen clients in the last week, and they're averaging between $20,000 and $40,000 of deductions. So let's say $21,000 of deductions. You're in a 30% bracket. That's $7,000 in cash in your pocket.
Yeah.
For stuff you guys are buying personally.
Yeah.
And is absolutely needed because we're in a disaster. So that's a big one, and that I haven't seen that anywhere out there, and it applies to everyone who owns their own business.
Well, that's incredible. So thank you again so much for hopping on and doing this, Ron. I'll let you go because you're a busy man saving people money, and that's way more important than talking to my pretty face. So thank you so much, and we'll catch you soon, okay?
All right. Thank you, bud. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.